Muito bem, jovens. Vamos lá, então. Reactzinho na hora do almoço. Aquele perguntas e respostas que a equipe do New World faz de vez em quando, tá ligado? Vamos nessa.
Hello everybody and welcome to Eye on Aeternum, a new type of video here on the channel where we talk about everything you have to look forward to this month in New World. Today we're going to talk about what's coming to the game in April, what's coming here to the video channel as well in April, and we're going to put Game Director Scott Lane in the hot seat to talk about your feedback. So you may be wondering, who's this on my screen? You know me better as Lydia in Discord, but I'm Leela, your New World Community Manager, and I'm really excited to be stepping in front of the camera today, whereas most of my work is behind the scenes. A little bit about me. I've joined the team recently, and I've been really enjoying playing the game. My main play style is to use Fire Staff and Ice Gauntlet, which I know might be a little OP, but that's enough about me. Let's talk about what's happening in game. So let's get started. What do we have to look forward to in game in April? The first thing is actually tomorrow, April 2nd, with the Season 5 Season of the Guardian update coming to the game. We know it's been a bit delayed and we thank you for waiting patiently. We're really excited to finally bring this update to the game. Now let me refresh your memory about everything that's coming in this update. First, we have the Winter Runeforge Seasonal Trial. This is a trial for 10 players. I'm really looking forward to playing it myself. In addition to that, we have cooking updates that we've talked about here on the channel, 8 artifacts, which I'm really looking forward to getting for myself. We have native controller support, which I know some of our players in Discord have been looking forward to as well. In addition to that, we have mounts being able to be used in OPR, as well as the thing I'm most looking forward to, the final edition of the main story quest update. I'm really looking forward to taking a brand new character all the way through this new main story quest. Next up, we have the Springtide Bloom event returning to the game between April 17th and 30th. To participate in the event, you can visit various centerpieces and party bags throughout the settlements in the game, and you can earn lots of different types of rewards, like dyes, event food, event currency to spend for more rewards, diamond gypsum, and 700 gear score patterns. I'm really looking forward to getting the new Bop Dance emote. Just to spoil it a little bit, it goes like this. And coming to the channel for Forged in Aeternum this month, we're cooking up something really fun for next week on April 8th. We're going to be answering all of your cooking questions about the trade skill update, as well as finding out who is Aeternum's next cooking star. In addition to that, this month, we have Balance of Power coming to the channel to talk a little bit about weapon balance, as well as an economy update. So look forward to those. So one of the things I do as your community manager is read your comments, feedback, and concerns about the game every day. This is in our Discord channels, Reddit, X, and everywhere you might talk about New World. In those places, I see a lot of hot topics come up. So what I want to do today is put Game Director Scott Lane in the hot seat to answer that feedback and talk about your concerns for the game. So let's dive in. Hi everybody and welcome to the hot seat. I'm here with Scott Lane, Game Director, to talk about all of your top feedback and concerns. Okay, one thing that I see a lot in our player community spaces like Discord and Reddit is talking about having to wait till June to hear more about what's coming for the future of the game. Can you give us a little more insight into the reason why we have to wait?
I can, but first I want to say thank you for taking the time to talk with me. It's really fun. And I'm excited to get to know you better and to have just a tighter tie-in with the community team. Mm-hmm. So why is June important? A few reasons. One, it allows us to create a moment because we are planning to announce something pretty big that's going to impact a lot of the players, both old and new. But also there's this thing called Summer Game Fest that happens in June, and it's a place that we can hit a broad audience with the announcement. It allows us to have a little more impact. And it just makes most sense from the game side to do it that way. I did want to comment, because when I talked about this last time, June, people interpreted that it was being pushed down on me or...
Cara, eu acho que o New World continua errando tanto nas escolhas, mano. Assim, eu não sei em que setor que tá o erro, tá ligado? Mas os caras continuam errando de um jeito tão foda, assim. Porque você vê, o plano dos caras é lançar um conteúdo novo que, porra, vai mudar o jogo pros jogadores que já estão e pros jogadores antigos. E aí eles decidem fazer o anúncio disso em junho, por causa da Summer Game Fest, porque eles vão atingir um novo público muito maior com isso. Ou seja, velho, eles estão fazendo uma modificação que é pra quem já joga, pra quem já conhece o jogo, pra quem tá puto com o jogo agora, e eles querem fazer o anúncio pra trazer novos jogadores pra dentro do jogo. Sabe, assim, é um bagulho que, velho, não bate a matemática, tá ligado? Ao invés dos caras fortalecerem quem já tá no jogo, fortalecer ali a galera, pô, mano, quem tá jogando agora, vamos hypar essa galera, vamos fazer essa galera ficar no jogo, pô, os caras ficam enrolando uma galera que já não tá aparentemente tão satisfeita assim, pra, porra, atingir um público fora, pra furar a bolha, entendeu? É furar a bolha, cara, quando você nem tá agradando dentro da sua própria bolha. Sei lá, mano, são as escolhas assim que não parecem muito coerentes, tá ligado? Sei lá, velho.
The game team to do June. This was a group decision. Like we all thought June was the best for the game. So this was like when I say it kills me that I can't talk about stuff, it's not that I'm being told not to. It's that it makes the most sense not to for the game right now. So
we just understand being impatient. I'm a very impatient person myself. So
yeah, it's really hard. Like, and I just like I'm really excited about all this stuff, and I'd love to share it. And I am fully aware people are sick of hearing that, so I'm not going to say that stuff anymore.
Okay. Okay. So next up, one of the other topics I see players talk about a lot is player server populations. So they're being reduced. We have merged some servers, but players are concerned about overall population in the game. What can we say about that, and what are our plans to improve?
I think, you know, it's a fair thing to be concerned about. Like pops are coming down, and it's, you know, we haven't been as communicative as we have, and that's going to make players, you know, be a little less interested in what's going on. What we're banking on is that what we come out with June and then some of the stuff that comes out later this year is impactful enough that like excites the players and brings some back and brings in a lot of new players.
Yeah.
So I understand the concerns, I share the concerns, and I'm a player, so I'm in those worlds, and you can feel it. Also worth noting when people say there's only X amount of players playing, they're kind of attributing the amount of people playing in one moment to how many are playing in an entire day or an entire week or an entire month. And I don't think that's a fair attribution.
Right.
But I think it is fair to say that the numbers have been going down. And like, again, pretty confident that what we're going to be talking about in June and later, the stuff later this year is going to turn that around.
Another thing that comes up often.
Junho é o dia. Um novo mundo está chegando no novo mundo, hein? Rapaz, junho... Sabe o que é foda? O foda é ele criar essa antecipação toda. Um conteúdo que vai mudar completamente o jogo. Que vai trazer os jogadores novos. Que vai fazer jogador... Vai trazer jogadores que já... Ou antigos jogadores pro jogo. Vai deixar os jogadores atuais felizes. Vai trazer jogadores novos. Aí chega em junho... Aí chega em junho, é aquela novidade, aquela novidade que você olha e fala, você tá de sacanagem. Aí, meu irmão, aí é um tiro no pé, tá ligado? Que é foda. Criar hype, cara, é um bagulho perigoso, mano. Perigosíssimo, mano.
Is that our responses about PvE versus PvP in the game is that we often say more players participate in PvE in the game than PvP. So, despite that being the fact, a lot of our PvP players are our most dedicated.
Em detalhe, velho, sacou? Essa parada do hype do New World, você vê que é um bagulho, assim, estranho, porque, velho, tudo bem, não quer dizer que só porque ele faz e não dá certo que ninguém deveria fazer. Mas, brother, tu não vê os MMOs fazendo essas paradas, tu não vê MMORPG indo pra Summer Game Fest, não sei o quê. Velho, os MMOs têm os seus próprios eventos, cara. O Lost Ark tem o seu próprio evento, BDO tem seu próprio evento, Final Fantasy tem seu próprio evento, a Blizzard tem seu próprio evento, aí o New World quer... Ai, eu vou pra Summer Game Fest, tá ligado? Eu vou anunciar lá pra pegar um público maior. Porra, meu irmão, e o público atual, parceiro? Pô, tem que fazer o bagulho pra quem já tá jogando, sacou? Tu tem que ter novos jogadores também? Tem, beleza. Mas, cara, se o cara que tá no jogo não tá satisfeito, meu irmão, não vai rolar, né, cara? Não vai dar certo, né, brother?
Players. They play a lot of hours, they care a lot about the game, they talk a lot to us. So how do we sort of prioritize their needs even as a smaller portion of the population?
No matter what we say, it's never going to be enough, and I agree with that as a player because they're always going to want more and more. I think, you know, I've touched on this. A huge part of the announcement is going to be a new PvP thing. Can't really say what it is. But I think we've also demonstrated, you know, with the cross-world stuff we've been doing for PvP modes, the stuff that's coming with arenas, that we care deeply about PvP. The influence races, we're supporting it. But in truth, there's, you know, it's 5-to-1 players that focus on PvE versus PvP. And so we have to have a majority of our investment there. But we still care deeply about PvP. And I think PvP has a lot of the legs that are back there and the players that are really passionate about the game.
Yeah, definitely. I see that a lot, is that our PvP players are really knowledgeable about the game, are really passionate, they participate a lot, and I'm really glad to have them in our communities. So definitely, I hope they do have something to look forward to, and we can tell you about
They absolutely
it.
do.
And
it's worth noting that, you know, when you go through the feedback from the PvP players, it's really good, it's really in-depth. Very hard to find alignment. And you see that internally. So we don't want to just go, oh, someone wants this or someone wants this. We're trying to really understand what changes we need to make. That's why, like, when Influences Races came out, we put a lot of thought and time behind it before we rolled it out to make sure that it had the best chance of success.
And sort of going off that discussion, one thing that comes up a lot as the biggest request, I would say, from our PvP players is about an OPR map. Can you say anything about how we decide whether or not to prioritize that sort of feature request?
So this is probably not going to make everyone happy, but I don't think people just want an OPR map. I think people say, I want an OPR map, but I think they want another mode. And I think they want a lot more than a map. And it's really easy to condense a request. Oh, no, just give me a map. If we just gave them a map, I don't think that would satiate what they're really looking for. It's not going to hit the need.
Right.
I would rather try to figure out, like, what's really going to satisfy them. And you know what? Sometimes that takes longer.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. Because, you know, I could put little Band-Aids on things, and that's not going to work long-term for the players. They want, in my opinion, when I dig deep in the players I talk to, they don't want us to rearrange the map. They want a different mode.
And I think that's just something that I see a lot as a community manager when players are giving feedback. I think it's really helpful and important to really talk about, like, the problem that you want to solve, or like, what's the...
A gente viu isso acontecendo com o Jotinha, né? O Jotinha ficou anos batendo a cabeça na parede. Não, eu vou fazer do meu jeito aqui, ó. Vou trazer a solução que eu quero, pá. Só merda, né? Só merda. Agora que o Jotinha tá fazendo o que a galera quer, de repente tá todo mundo feliz, tá ligado? De repente tá todo mundo feliz, Agora ele tá fazendo exatamente o que a comunidade tá pedindo, né? Ou pelo menos assim, numa direção mais próxima. E de repente tá todo mundo feliz. Continua, pô. Continua tentando descobrir aí a loucura aí. Sozinho. Não ouve a comunidade não, que vai dar bom, pô. Vai dar bom.
What are you actually feeling about the game or the problem, rather than specifically focusing on one solution? Because that's certainly one solution, but it's not the only solution, right? To giving our PvP players.
Yeah, of all the PvP players asking for a new OPR map, maybe 10 or maybe even 20% of them really do just want a rearranged map. But I don't think that's going to, you may want that, but then when you start playing, I don't think that's going to give it the legs that they're hoping for. I think what they want is, like I said, I think they want you to change gameplay somehow and make it interesting in a different way.
Yeah. So the next thing
O feedback da galera é: me dê X. Não, a galera tá pedindo X, mas acho que eles não querem X. Eles com certeza querem o Y, que eu ainda vou inventar. Eu vou inventar um Y, que é o que eles querem de verdade, porque o X que eles estão me pedindo, eles com certeza não querem. Pode crer. É bom. Tá me lembrando tanto o Jotinha de anos atrás. Porra. Querem uma skin pra montaria, mas acho que o que eles realmente querem é um violão novo. Rapaz, que loucura, mano, isso aqui, velho. É isso muito tenso, cara. O cara pede isso, deve entender isso. Caralho, que viagem, né, mano? Que loucura, cara.
I wanted to talk about is how we consider player feedback in our decision making. So what do we do whenever feedback seems to go against popular opinion or our development plans?
Let's start with the popular opinion, because it's a real tricky part of it, because when you look at one place for your feedback, it seems like that's popular opinion. You have to realize that is, 1% of the overall player base, and even smaller of the potential player base. So while it sounds really loud, if you just follow that signal every single time, you're going to make a game for a very specific group of people, and it's going to be a smaller audience that is going to be, able to allow you to support the game. Now, don't mix that up with it's not important, because those folks are really important to us. We just can't follow everything they're asking for. So we need to understand, from there it goes back to the last one, which is, why do they want this? What are the goals they're looking for? How can we achieve those? How can we fit those in with other things we're doing? And we start to look at, it's a simple ROI, return on investment. How much can we invest here versus here? We segment all the players, so we're tracking, okay, we've taken care of this group, we've taken care of this group, we've taken care of this group, and we try to circle around. And, as every place I've ever worked, we have finite resources. We don't have infinite resources. So you've got to look at all of that. You've got to, talk to the players, not just the ones in one area, but in other areas. I think Scott mentioned this in the last Q&A, Scott, our engineer. We do a lot of lapsed player surveys, and we get a lot of really good directional guidance on that and understanding. We all play the game, much to the surprise of some of the people. we play the game a whole lot. And we use all of that together to try to, do what we think is best for the game. We also have some insight that the players don't have on longer term plans and the reasons, things that are coming in the future. So we look at features that are going to, from a vision standpoint, fit in to our longer term goals and where we're taking things. I hope that, it's a super complex answer, and it's unfortunately, I probably left out half of it, because it's just, there's so much that goes into the decision making. And there's a lot of people involved.
Cara, realmente é o que ele falou no final. É uma resposta muito complexa, sacou? Mas, e a primeira parte eu entendo, que é o que, é o que a gente já falou aqui no canal, já falei várias vezes essa parada. Tipo, a gente tem uma parte da comunidade que é muito vocal, que é quem? Somos nós, geradores de conteúdo, é o cara que tá em live, é o cara que tá na Twitch, é o cara que tá no Twitter, no Reddit, que são as pessoas que estão engajadas, né, nas plataformas online, comentando, gerando todo esse material e movimentando tudo isso. E é isso que a gente tem nas mãos, né? O que a gente consegue ver é isso. Então, quando você tem nesses canais que a gente vê muita gente falando a mesma coisa, ou muita gente com o mesmo raciocínio, você pensa, caraca, tá morrendo o jogo, tá todo mundo puto e não sei o quê. E o que ele falou, cara, eu tenho certeza que é muito real. Nós, né, que estamos engajados aqui, representamos uma parcela muito pequena. Ele chegou a falar 1%, né? Essa galera é 1% do todo. E faz muito sentido isso, cara. Faz muito sentido que a maior parcela seja uma galera que nem, cara, nem vai pro YouTube, nem fala nada no Twitter, mas nem abre a live, foda-se. O cara só joga o jogo dele, fica na guild dele ali e tá tudo certo, né, cara? Dane-se, né? Pra mim faz muito sentido que essa seja realmente a maior parcela da parada. A questão é, quando você vê esses feedbacks de forma geral, ou pelo menos alguns desses feedbacks, eles também levam em consideração esse cara, entendeu? Tem pessoas que só falam, o que eu quero, mas geralmente esse é um feedback merda, né? Você percebe que é um feedback merda quando o cara ele dá o feedback pensando só nele. Eu quero isso, eu preciso disso, então me dá essa parada. Você sabe que é um feedback merda, é nesse momento. O feedback, quando ele é interessante, ele não é só sobre o cara que tá fazendo o feedback, ele é sobre o contexto em volta. Se eu tô dando um feedback sobre PVP, eu não tô pensando só em mim, né, cara? Mas eu tô pensando no contexto geral, da guild, de como é a relação das guilds entre si, do PVP massivo, de como é o jogador novo se inserir dentro desse PVP, porque eu também já fui um jogador novo, eu sei como o jogador novo funciona. Então, quando um feedback é completo, ele também leva em consideração esse cara que não tá se manifestando também, né, cara? Então, saca, apesar de ser uma parcela menor, não é uma parcela que totalmente ignora, né, a outra parcela que não tá se movimentando, ela também é levada em consideração, né? Então, sei lá, eu não sei, mas novamente, é uma parada complexa, né? A resposta dele foi, não diz muita coisa, né, sobre como eles levam isso em consideração. Eu nem sei se tem como fazer isso, porque eu acho que seria vai ser uma parada isolada, vai ter um feedback que os caras vão olhar e falar, porra, isso aqui faz sentido, vamos levar isso em consideração, vai ter outros que, isso aqui não faz sentido, foda-se. Não sei se tem como padronizar, né, cara, isso de fato. É um bagulho realmente muito complexo, né? Mas enfim, bora. A questão é que esse 1% tem um impacto gigante no jogo, porque se fosse tão irrelevante nem teria esse papo. Exatamente, exatamente. E é justamente por isso, saca? Porque esse 1%, ele consegue falar coisas que todo mundo se identifica, saca? Eu posso falar coisas aqui com 30 mil horas de BDO que o cara que tá começando agora vai olhar e falar, pô, cara, é real, eu tô vivendo essa parada aqui. Você tem razão, né? O cara que tá no mid-game fala, pô, realmente, essa parada aqui me afeta também. O cara que tá no endgame. Então você fala uma parada que afeta vários outros grupos também, né? Não é porque você, né, faz parte de um pequeno grupo que você não consegue olhar para todos os outros grupos em volta e falar sobre eles também, né? E eu acho que esse é o feedback que eles deveriam levar em consideração. Eu acho que esse é o feedback que deveria ser considerado nessa resposta. Eu acho que é isso que eu tava querendo dizer. Pô, o que vocês fazem quando esse feedback aparece? Quando aparece um feedback que leva em consideração todos os grupos, que consegue ser amplo o suficiente, rola pra caralho isso, o que vocês fazem com esse feedback, tá ligado? Acho que essa seria a contra, né, que seria dada pra ele pra ver o que ele diria sobre isso, né? Porque a resposta foi super evasiva, né?
It's really one piece of a bigger puzzle. So whether it be resources, overall goals for the game, different aspects. So it's definitely important, but it is a piece of a bigger picture. So I think it's important to keep that in mind.
Yeah, no, for sure. It all matters, and it all kind of goes into your brain and helps form the opinion. But at the end of the day, I have to make decisions that I think are, best for the entire audience.
Right. Okay, so my last question, is there anything you wish players better understood about your job?
About my job, no, but I think sometimes when we do these Q&As and talk, things get like misrepresented. For instance, in the last one, I was really sad because at some point, I think one of the questions was something along the lines of, are you all fully dedicated to this? And I'm like, we sure are, the dev team really is. And people took that to mean Amazon Grader wasn't, or Mark, like I'm being told. And that's just couldn't be more from the truth. If Amazon wasn't totally, like, they are so behind us. And like, I'm so fortunate with where we are. I think when I qualify things like the dev team, it's because I don't want to speak for players. Right. I want to make sure that the perspective is from, like, I don't know what everyone's thinking. I only have evidence of what I think and what the people above me think. And as a player, I know what I think, but I want to make sure that when we're talking about this stuff, it's like there's no conspiracy theory or anything. We all want this to be successful. Definitely. And how we get there, we may not align on with the players, especially like right now, some of the more vocal groups. But I think the direction we're going, I'm really confident in it. I'm excited about it. And I just can't wait to share it. And I think the last question answered more about, how we make decisions is about the job. But I guess if I was saying something to the players, like, we want this to be successful for as long as possible. I love this game. When I'm not working, which is a lot of hours, I'm usually at home in world playing. And I can tell you that a lot of people on our team are like that. It's exciting. We love Aeternum. Like, it's something we really believe in.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here in the hot seat. I hope I didn't drown you with too many questions.
I am so, first off, you're welcome, but I'm really excited for your new show. I think you're going to be swimming in compliments and you're going to make a massive splash with the players. It's awesome. The one thing I really hope, though, is that you talk to other people on the team, because you don't want to dive in with me anymore. I think like seeing more faces will help this group a lot.
And with that, I hope this keeps your hopes for the game afloat. And that brings us to our community question. As your community manager, I want to know, have you ever taken part in an in-game event run by a player? If you have, I want to hear all about it in the comments. If you like these videos and you want to see more Eye on Aeternum and hot seats, please like and subscribe to the channel. And with that, I'll see you in Aeternum.
Bem, tomara, né? Tomara que esse anúncio de junho seja tudo isso mesmo que ele tá colocando, cara. Porque se não for, meu amigo, poor girl, they punish her in front of the camera. Tadinha, ela foi punida sendo colocada em frente à câmera. Finalmente vamos ganhar o nado, galera. Olha a natação chegando. The game needs a new mode or some extra places to like island to go. Swimming. Mais alguém falando de nadar? Feedback é importante. E também você bane 90% dos usuários do Discord que provém feedback que vocês não gostam. Legal. É legal. O feedback é importante. Desde que a gente goste, humilde. The PvP community and PvP content is what's being consumed via. É, mano, a galera chegou, hein? Galera comentou bastante, né? É, tá aí. Pois é, então tá aí, cara. Tá aí os comentários do New World. New World. Realmente o jogo tá com uma queda, né, de jogadores já tem um tempinho já. E aí parece que é a Summer Game Fest. Na Summer Game Fest é que o bagulho vai ser insano. Tá, o vermelho tá sangrando. O jogo tá sangrando já tem um tempo, né? Tá na sangria sinistra. Sinistra. Mas é junho. Junho vai ser estouro. Junho, prepare. Vocês estão preparados para junho?
Zeus?
Vocês estão preparados? Você tá preparado, X? Você tá preparado para junho?
Ah, junho tem coisa. Junho tem jotinha, né?
É, junho tem banquete, né? De carro, de raio. Tem New World estourando a boca do balão. Junho vai ser incontrolável. A pergunta que fica é você. Você está preparado para junho? Está animado? Você acha? Assim, a pergunta que eu vou fazer uma pergunta diferente para você que estiver assistindo esse vídeo, cara. O que você acha que o New World podia anunciar em junho que teria esse impacto que ele tá falando? Tipo assim, o que poderia ser anunciado que faria os jogadores? Eita porra, agora não vai ter como, agora eu vou ter que jogar. Vou ter que jogar New World de qualquer jeito. Deixa aí nos comentários qual poderia ser esse anúncio. E a gente se vê no próximo React. Valeu!